Hey up, it's Steve from that old Yorkshire Geek. Got a bit of news tonight. It's not a news bite, this. It's going to be a full news show because I've got, I don't know, 4 bits of news today. First off, the sad news that director Mike Hodges has passed away at the age of 90. It's a decent age. I hope I live to be 90. His 2 most famous films are Get Carter, starring Michael Caine, and one of my favourite films, this one, Flash Gordon. There it is. Well, by the way, this is Mike Hodges. Oh, you can't see him. Hang on. Let me move him out from behind. There he is. From behind Flash. Yeah, there's Mike Hodges. But his most famous film, for me anyway, is Flash Gordon. I love that film. It's brilliant. Sam Jones, Melody Anderson, Max von Sydow, Ornella Muti. Brilliant film. Brian Blessed, Timothy Dalton. A panoply of stars in that film. It's brilliant. It's ace. In fact, I might watch it tonight now. I say that every time, don't I? But I genuinely might. Because I love that film. So, and it's very sad, anyway, that the director of that, Mike Hodges, has passed away. But 90 is a good age. As I said, I hope I live to be 90. So, you know, rest in peace, Mike Hodges. You've got a great legacy behind you. And there you go. People always die just before Christmas, don't they? Have you noticed that? I've noticed that. Anyway, not always, obviously. People die all year round, but I don't know. Right, news. Do you know what I haven't done? You know what I haven't done? I haven't set up my news window. Hang on, let's do it now. I hope you can't see all this going on. Right, let's see what happens. There we go. First up, hang on, I have to move that, aren't I? Oh, dear. Hey, right, first up from Bounding Into Comics, as usual. All the links are in the description down below. Don't forget, like and subscribe, share the videos, drop a comment, hit the notification bell. Follow me on my social medias, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and I'm also on Rumble and Anchor.fm and Spotify and Amazon Podcasts and Google Play Podcasts, I think, and all that. And Merry Christmas, because it's Christmas. I've got all my lights on, look, crikey. You can see all my room, all my junk. Anyway, right. Right, after the disaster of Terminator Dark Fate, James Cameron claims franchise relaunch in discussion. What, again? Shares the direction he would take it. We had a chance, didn't we, with Dark Fate? I mean, that were him, wasn't it? He were all for that one. Anyway, Avatar The Way of Water director James Cameron continued to make the press rounds to promote the film and revealed that there are discussions to relaunch the Terminator franchise after the failure of Terminator Dark Fate. Cameron appeared on the Smartless podcast where he was asked if he felt he had responsibility to push a message in his films. He responded, "Yeah, well, I mean the Avatar films are about the environment. I'm not dealing with AI. If I were to do another Terminator film and maybe try to launch that franchise again, which is in discussion but nothing has been decided, I would make it much more about the AI side of it than bad robots gone crazy." That sounds a bit boring, doesn't it? But you never know with James. As I'm always saying, never bet against James Cameron as a director. If he came back to direct it, write and direct it, then it might be another matter. But they tried to do the AI thing, didn't they, with that Genesis, Terminator Genesis? That was an AI, essentially, wasn't it? An operating system. Anyway, generally, they call it AGI, Artificial General Intelligence. See, he's obviously thought about it, hasn't he? That it's not just designed to play chess and beat your ass at chess, it's designed to solve all kinds of problems, so it needs more of consciousness in the way that we view and react to the world, he elaborated. Cameron previously discussed Terminator on the press circuit and explained that he believed Dark Fate failed to connect with audiences because they told the story of your granddad's Terminator. He first told Deadline, "I think I'm actually reasonably happy with the film. I've got to admit, I didn't hate it. It just was pointless, to be honest. Tim and I had our battles and we've both spoken about that, but the crazy thing is we're still pals, which is weird. I liked him before the movie, didn't like him very much during the movie, and I like him now. And I think he feels the same way. We're both these crazy sci-fi geeks, and we like a lot of the same things. And I love this show. I love his show, Love, Death and Robots. Yeah, it's cool as that. Really good show on Netflix, Love, Death and Robots. But yeah, we butted heads, he elaborated. Cameron then revealed what he believed was one of the major problems with the film. I think the problem, and I'm going to wear this one, is that I refuse to do it without Arnold. Tim didn't want Arnold, but I said, look, I don't want that. Arnold and I have been friends for 40 years, and I could hear it, and it would go like this. Jim, I can't believe you're making a Terminator movie without me. It just didn't mean that much to me to do it, but I said, if you guys could see your way clear to bringing Arnold back, and then I'd be happy to be involved. They had him in Genesis as well, didn't they? He continued, and then Tim wanted Linda. I think what happened is, I think the movie could have survived having Linda in it. I think it could have survived having Arnold in it. But when you put Linda and Arnold in it, and then she's 60-something, he's 70-something, all of a sudden it wasn't your Terminator movie. It wasn't even your dad's Terminator movie. It was your granddad's Terminator movie, and we didn't see that. I don't know what he's talking about, to be honest. I think he's talking nonsense. He's making excuses for a bad film. Cameron's, which I didn't hate. Cameron then stated, we loved it. We thought it was cool, that we were making this sort of direct sequel to a movie that came out in 1991. Like Terminator 2. And young movie-going audiences weren't born. They wouldn't even have been born for another 10 years. So it was just our own myopia. We kind of got a little high on our own supply, and I think that's the lesson there, he declared. You know what makes me depressed? Because I'm old. So I see a lot of channels on YouTube with young presenters talking about films that came out when they were kids. They'll say like, this film came out the year I was born, like Terminator 2, for instance. And I look at that and I think, a year after that, I had a kid. Well, I didn't, my wife did. But it's depressing. Anyway, right, so next up. Right, Terminator Dark Fate was an abysmal failure at the box office. The film only grossed $250.3 million when it was released in 2019, with only $62.2 million coming from the domestic box office. The film had a reported production budget of $185 million, meaning the film needed to make around $460 million. Blah, 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 and it didn't. In fact, the film's director Tim Miller has also admitted the film was a failure while speaking to Collider at San Diego Comic-Con. This is, after he called, people who didn't like it misogynists and stuff. He stated, Terminator is an interesting movie to explore, but maybe we've explored it enough. I went in with the rock-hard nerd belief that if I made a good movie that I wanted to see, it would do well. And I was wrong. It was one of those effing eureka moments in a bad way because the movie tanked. Well, because you made a lot of bad decisions. Killing off John Connor in the first 5 minutes of the film, for instance, and doing the old, hashtag Me Too thing, having a strong female. I know there's nothing wrong with strong female characters, but having them all being strong female characters. When Collider's Steve Weintraub countered that it didn't tank, Miller replied, then why aren't people returning my phone calls? Because, Steve Weintraub's an idiot, in my opinion. That's it for that. So in discussions to do Terminator again. I'm sure they are. But if he writes and directs it, then fair enough. It might not be bad. If he has a good idea. It looks like he's thought about it, with this, AGI. Anyway, right, next. Could Depp's Jack Sparrow be killed off? Pirates of the Caribbean producer responds. Pirates of the Caribbean producer Jerry Bruckheimer responds to whether Johnny Depp's Jack Sparrow could be killed off as he looks to the future. And there he is. Did you see him doing Jack Sparrow for that kid that's got 100,000? I forgot his name now. I subscribed to his channel, get his channel up. Did a Zoom call, what they call it. I'm old, I don't know, FaceTime, I don't know. He sent a message anyway to him, didn't he? And talked to the kid. over the interwebs in full Jack Sparrow garb. It were lovely. Anyway, right. As the actor bounces back from his infamous legal battles with Amber Heard, Pirates of the Caribbean producer Jerry Bruckheimer addresses whether Johnny Depp's Jack Sparrow could be killed off. Depp quickly became the face of Disney's swashbuckling franchise based on their amusement park ride, with the actor even netting a Golden Globe nomination for his performance as the drunk and eccentric pirate captain in the original film. Sparrow would serve as the main character for all 5 Pirates of the Caribbean movies, though his future was put in doubt amid legal troubles surrounding his ex-wife and his last film, Dead Men Tell No Tales, or Salazar's Revenge as it was called in this country. Why? I don't know. Scored generally mixed reviews and lacklustre box office receipts. While speaking with The Hollywood Reporter to discuss his expansive career, Jerry Bruckheimer opened up about the future of the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise. When asked about the possibility of killing off Depp's Jack Sparrow, the prolific producer shut down the notion, recalling how they attempted to do so once before, only for it not to have worked. See what Bruckheimer said below. "You can't kill Captain Jack Sparrow. We tried to kill him, it didn't work." I don't know, did they? I don't know. I know he was supposed to have died on the end of Dead Man's Chest, when he's, "Hello, beastie," and that, the Kraken thing came out of the sea, didn't it? And he technically did die, didn't he? Because he went into Davy Jones's locker, or that upside-downy place. But they got him back. Right, anyway, will Johnny Depp return to Pirates of the Caribbean? He says not, but back up that dump truck full of money and you never know. But he's just got $1 million off Amber Heard, hasn't he? He's settled with her, hasn't he? He probably had a moment of weakness. Anyway, Bruckheimer has remained optimistic about the possibility of Depp returning for a Pirates of the Caribbean sequel sometime in the future, confirming development continues on both It and Margot Robbie's spin-off. Though notes the former is taking priority at Disney. Depp, however, seemingly shut down the possibility of his return during the recent trial between him and Heard, saying he would reject a $300 million offer to take on the mantle of Jack Sparrow once again. I don't think he would. Not now, anyway. The Golden Globe winner cited a strained relationship with Disney for his lack of interest in coming back for the Pirates of the Caribbean, but has not spoken out further in the 6 months since he won his trial on his potential return. Should Pirates of the Caribbean kill off Jack Sparrow? No. Even if Depp does return to the fold, the question on many audiences' minds remains whether Jack Sparrow should remain the lead character in the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise. Though considered the breakout character of the original film, most acknowledge the leads of the first 3 stories to actually be Orlando Bloom's Will Turner and Keira Knightley's Elizabeth Swann, 2 people whose lives were upended by Jack invading their existences. I don't think so. I don't think most people, most acknowledge the leads of the first 3 stories. No. They were, Jack Sparrow was the lead character, wasn't it? And all the rest were kind of supporting actors, weren't they, really? Really, it was Jack's film. Though Pirates of the Caribbean or Stranger Tides focus squarely on Jack, its follow-up, Dead Men Tell No Tales, or Salazar's Revenge, brought the focus back to Will and Elizabeth, focusing on their son, Brenton Thwaites as Henry, as he tries to find a way to break his father's curse aboard the Flying Dutchman. I think I've only seen that one once, that last one. I can't remember what happens in it. I remember there's a big, in the sea at the end, when it all parts and it's all dry, a bit like parting of the Red Sea sort of thing, isn't there? I think. I'm thinking of something else. I don't know. Though Pirates of the Caribbean Dead Men Tell No Tales ended with a post-credit stinger teasing the return of Bill Nighy's Davy Jones, I remember that bit, it still largely concludes all of Jack's threads, seeing him reclaim the Black Pearl and resuming his captaining across the seas, with the 2017 film even going so far as to retcon some of Jack's origin story. It seems that there's very little ground left to cover for Depp's character in the future, save for giving him a closing chapter. While audiences await word on Depp's potential return and the franchise's future as a whole, they can revisit the Pirates of the Caribbean movie streaming on Disney+. Right. So, yeah. I don't think they'll kill him off. I think he'll come back to it, because, he hasn't exactly been getting a lot of work, has he, recently? I know he probably doesn't need it. I think he's fine for money and stuff, but they're actors, they've got egos, they want to be up there, don't they, acting. So I think he will return as Jack Sparrow. That's what I think. Right, we'll go on. Next one. Go away, video. No, I've clicked X. Why are you still there? Oh, stupid thing. No, it's there. Move from top to bottom of the little triangle. There we go. Triangle. Rectangle, I mean. Right, where are we? Right, next James Bond star chosen by British public in poll with nail-biting result. This isn't, they haven't actually chosen who the next Bond's going to be. Somebody's asked them, who would you like the next James Bond next James Bond actor to be? And they've given their answers. They haven't decided that it's going to be him. Anyway, Daniel Craig is due to be replaced at some point soon. Anyway, but the British public already knows. I mean, he's not James Bond anymore, is he? Spoilers, he dies at the end of No Time to Die. So that was Time to Die, wasn't it? Which I watched yesterday, or the day before. Day before yesterday. I actually like it. I don't like the end of it, but I do like the film. But the British public already knows who they want to become the new and improved 007. I think you can guess who they're going to say. After No Time to Die hit cinemas, Daniel Craig stepped away from the legendary role of James Bond following 15 years and 5 movies. His tenure as the action hero finally concluded. Since then, Bond bosses have stated that they will be announcing the next star of the role in the coming years, but the British public has other ideas. Rainbow Riches Casino recently asked British Bond buffs, like their alliteration, don't they? Who ought to be taking over as the 7th official 007 star in a poll made up of 2,000 votes. That all? UK voters had their say and ultimately decided that Tom Hardy was the best choice for the job. Hardy received 24% of the total votes, almost 500 in total. This is a major win for the Venom star, as he is now the nation's favourite actor to continue the legacy of Bond, James Bond. Hardy was previously rumoured to have been cast as 007 behind the scenes. While these reports were never confirmed, his Bond odds have skyrocketed ever since Ladbrokes recently gave Hardy 7-1 odds on claiming the role, but he's beaten by a collection of major players. Second in Britain's voting was the indelible Idris Elba. Elba is best known for appearing in the Marvel Universe and playing Detective Luther. In recent years, he played Bloodsport in The Suicide Squad, and these roles no doubt contributed to his popularity in the Bond voting. Elba claimed 17% of the votes, making him Britain's second choice to play the next 007 after Craig. It seems the Bond bosses feel the same way about the star, as they recently spoke candidly about Elba's position in the franchise's future. Bond boss Barbara Broccoli, the bees, Bond boss Barbara Broccoli said at the beginning of the year, "Well, we know Idris. I'm friends with him, and he's a magnificent actor. It's been part of the conversation." However, she recently backtracked on these comments about Elba. And there he is. Broccoli pointed out that the age of the 50-year-old Elba could be his biggest crutch, she said. The thing is, the Bond announcement is going to be a couple of years off, and when we cast Bond, it's a 10 to 12-year commitment, so he's probably thinking, do I really want that thing? Not everybody wants to do that. It was hard enough getting Daniel Craig to do it. How old was Roger Moore when he did his last James Bond film? I'm sure he was in his 60s, wasn't he? Was he? I'm sure when he did A View to a Kill, I think that was his last one, wasn't it? I'm sure he was about 63 or something. I don't know. I'm going to have to look that up. Hang on. Let's get a search thing up. What are you doing there? Just bear with me while I do a search. Roger Moore. Oh, no. Oh, God, Roger Moore. Right, Roger Moore, when it's ready. Is everybody else's internet being a bit slow? It's been terrible for me today. It's been terrible for me today. I blame the Chinese. Just blame them for everybody, don't we? Right, when were he born? 1927, and 1985 was A View to a Kill. So that means he was, I think he was 50. I think that means he was 58, doesn't it? So we're nearly 60 then. He was nearly 60 when he did A View to a Kill. I've got that right, haven't I? 27 to 85 is 58. 27, 37, 47, 57, 67, 77, 85. Yeah, 58, yeah. Mental arithmetic, not my thing. Right, where were we? Fellow Bond boss, Michael G. Wilson, he's let down the bees there, hasn't he? Added, and he was in his early 30s at the time. That's Daniel Craig, by the way. I still think looks like a goblin. I think it's dead ugly. He's a good actor and stuff. And I didn't mind his Bond, but, a looker, he was not. But, pot kettle black. Coming in third in Britain's choice is the Peaky Blinders legend, Cillian Murphy. Is it Cillian or Cillian? I never know how to pronounce it. But I won't want to be called Cillian, because people will be saying, you're a Cillian, you are, yeah. So, Cillian. Because it's got kill in it, and it makes him sound hard. He earned 9% of the vote, making him one another of the highest voted stars in the running. Murphy has spoken candidly about not wanting to become the hero. However, he previously said, I think 007 should be a woman, which rules me out. It's just stirring. Other favourites, hang on. Scroll down a bit. Let's move that down a bit, shall we? There we go. Other favourites in the odds. Will you behave? I'm not having much fun scrolling here, am I? Other favourites in the odds were also in the Rainbow Riches Casino poll were present as well. Henry Cavill achieved 8% of Britain's vote. I think Henry Cavill should be James Bond. And was closely followed by former One Direction star Harry Styles. Oh, for God's sake. Who took 4% of the vote. Why do you get H from Steps? The firm's senior brand manager said, ever since it was announced that No Time to Die was Daniel Craig's last James Bond film, rumours have been circulating about who the next James Bond will be. Our research found that Tom Hardy would be a popular choice to be the next 007, with Idris Elba also a fan favourite. And it seems AI also agrees Tom Hardy really looks the part. Notably absent from the poll was Aaron Taylor-Johnson, who is currently at the top of the odds, with 2-1 odds from Ladbrokes. He could be all right. The book, people couldn't. I liked him in Godzilla. I thought he did play the action role there. I mean, you see him in I forgot to call it now. That superhero thing he did where he wants a superhero. That one anyway. And he looked like this scrawny kid, wasn't he? But then he's kind of filled out, didn't he? And he were good in Godzilla. Anyway, the bookie's spokesperson extraordinaire, Alex Apati, said, our traders have been scratching their heads somewhat after seeing Aaron Taylor-Johnson leap to the head of the betting, but he continues to hold top spot in the race to replace Daniel Craig, with Henry Cavill now being his closest rival for the 007 gig. Oh, that's it. But what they're going to do, though, I've said I think what they should do, they should start the next James Bond film with me and my brain. What is going on with me today? My names. M. The previous M, not Voldemort M. The previous one. Yeah, it should start up where they get Judi Dench is knocking on a door, probably the same door we saw Bernard Lee knocking on in Live and Let Die. The door opens, the new James Bond is there, whomever it may be, Henry Cavill hopefully, probably with a dressing gown on or something like that. And he goes, M, I had the strangest dream. And then winks at the camera and the film starts. And then we get the that could start the barrel. It could be like a pre-barrel scene. It usually starts with the barrel, doesn't it? The gun barrel, and him shooting into it and the blood. It could start with that. But anyway, that's just me. No, it's not a good idea, is it? But whatever. Right, that's it. That's the news. Shall we see if there's any other news? Shall we see if there's anything else? We're going to sci-fi news. See if anything's popped up. Zack Snyder shares Rebel Moon image of new sci-fi location. Let's have a look at that one then. Zack Snyder shares Rebel Moon image of new sci-fi location. Because remember, he wanted to do a Star Wars film, but they wouldn't let him. So he thought, I'll do my own then. With Netflix. So Zack Snyder shares a new look at Rebel Moon, his upcoming epic space opera made in collaboration with Netflix, which stars Sophia Boutella. I like Sophia Boutella. Is that the image then? Is that... very good. Doesn't exactly tell us a lot, does it? Is that Darth Vader there, or Kylo Ren? I know it's not. Right, Rebel Moon director... Zack Snyder shares a new behind-the-scenes look at the upcoming Netflix space opera after earning a massive fan following with movies like 300, great film, Watchmen, masterpiece, and Man of Steel. Snyder's next project, Rebel Moon, will seemingly be even larger in scale. The epic space adventure film tells the story of a mysterious young woman from a peaceful colony. It's got to be a woman, hasn't it? I'm sorry to sound, misogynistic, but it's always a bloody woman, isn't it? Who sets out... I thought we wanted to do Star Wars. Why can't I have a mysterious young Luke Skywalker rip-off? Anyway. Who sets out on a galactic quest to gather an army to defeat a tyrannical dictator. Written by Snyder, Shea Hatton and Kurt Johnstad. Never heard of him. Rebel Moon also stars Charlie Hunnam. Also stars. Sophia Boutella as well, isn't it? Carrie Elwes, Michiel Huisman, Anthony Hopkins, Ed Skrein... or Scrine, I don't know how you pronounce it. Ray Fisher and Jimon Hunsu. So a star-studded cast. Apart from him who I've never heard of, Michiel Huisman. Although fans have yet to get a trailer for the film, Snyder continues to share Rebel Moon photos on social media, showing off sneak peeks at the film's costumes, sets and more. In a new image posted to Vero. Is that still going? I think Snyder's probably the only person that uses it. Snyder shares yet another look at the film, this time an ornate practical set, which will be complemented with visual effects. Check out the director's latest Rebel Moon photo below. We also saw it up there, didn't we? Anyway, what's he said? Hashtag Rebel Moon, as promised, sorry about the unfinished nature of the shot, but it's still early days. Forging ahead, here's a recent makeup test I shot on my iPhone. Hashtag Rebel Moon. There you go. That's some sort of alien person. Everything we know about Rebel Moon. So that's a bit strange, isn't it? Devilish. In contrast to Snyder's work within the DCU, Rebel Moon is not based on any pre-existing intellectual property, so many story details remain under wraps. It does, however, seem to be the biggest project the director has worked on thus far, with Snyder previously revealing that he personally drew over 3,000 Rebel Moon storyboards. Photos and videos from the set have also teased that despite being an epic space opera set in otherworldly settings with alien creatures, the film will feature a number of practical sets, props and costumes to work in tandem with visual effects. Rebel Moon also boasts an impressive cast, but many roles remain shrouded in mystery. Boutella's character, Cora, is expected to serve as the central protagonist in the series. If you don't know who Sophia Boutella is, she played the Mummy in The Mummy, Tom Cruise's The Mummy, which was horrible. She played Jayla in Star Trek Beyond, the alien woman with the stripes on her face, who I really liked in that, because she liked the the music with the banging and stuff, didn't she? Who else? She was in The Kingsman, I think the first one, as the assassin woman with no feet. What else has she been in? She was in that great film. What was it called? I forgot to call it now. Atomic Blonde with Charlize Theron. She was in that. So that's who she is. Anyway, Cora is expected to serve as the central protagonist in the series, with Snyder revealing that the main conflict in the story will kick off after a military force travels to Cora's peaceful farming planet and demands food. Balisarius Screen is expected to be Rebel Moon's main villain, but it's less clear how the characters played by Fisher, Elwes, Honsu, Hunnam, Huisman and Hopkins, a lot of H's there at the end, will factor into the story. Although the first film isn't even out yet, Rebel Moon Part 2 is already believed to have gotten the green light. Rebel Moon doesn't yet have a firm release date, but with Snyder revealing several weeks ago that filming had wrapped, it's possible that the film will release in the third or fourth quarter of 2023. An official trailer for the movie is likely not set to release anytime soon, but considering his social media activity thus far, Snyder will probably share additional looks at Rebel Moon over the next few months. It's unclear how much Netflix has spent on Snyder's latest venture, but the film certainly looks like a major investment and potentially a franchise that will be around for years to come. And will they put it into theatres? Maybe they've done with some of the films, haven't they? If it turns out good, let's say that A Devil Lady and A Room. Look, it's not a lot to go on, is it? But it sounds interesting. I'd say, albeit Star Warsy, but it is his version of Star Wars after all. So that's interesting. Hello, Princess. My cat's just arrived. Right, we'll leave it there. So, there we go. We had a bit of news there, didn't we? There we go. So, I'll try and put, in the description thing, I'll try and put, what they call it, clicky timestamps. That's it, timestamps for stuff. I always forget. Anyway, we'll leave it there. So, thanks for watching. Wherever you are in the universe, look after each other. And until next time, Merry Christmas, and I'll see thee.